The enthusiasm greeting the discovery that F's reagent mortally affected the grass was only tempered by the dampening thought that its action had been incomplete. What good was the lethal compound if its work were final only when the sprayed parts were severed? F seemed to think it was a great deal of good. Her manner toward me, boisterous and quite out of keeping with our respective positions and sexes, could almost be called friendly. During the return to Southampton, she constantly clapped me on the back and shouted, "It's over, Wiener, it's all over now." "But it isn't over," I protested. "Your spray hadn't the slightest direct effect on the grass." "Oh, that's nothing. A mere impediment. A matter of time only." "Time only? Good God, do you realize the grass is halfway through Ireland? That we are surrounded now on 4 sides? A last-minute rescue is quite in the best tradition. Don't disturb yourself. You will live to gloat over the deaths of better men." I urged the PM to be cautious about over-optimism in giving out the news. He nodded his head solemnly in agreement, but he evidently couldn't communicate whatever wisdom he possessed to the BBC announcer, for he, in butter voice, spoke as though Miss Frances had actually destroyed a great section of the wheat upon the French coast. There were celebrations in the streets of London, and a vast crowd visited the cenotaph and sang "Rule Britannia." September 18th. Hoping to find F in a calmer mood, I asked her today just how long she meant by a matter of time. She shrugged it off. "Not more than 4 or 5 months," she said blithely. "In a month at most, the grass will be in Britain." "Let it come," she responded callously. "We shall take the Sisyphus and conclude our work there." "But millions will die in the meantime," I protested. She turned on me with what I can only describe as tigerish ferocity. "Did you think of the millions you condemned to death when you refused to sell concentrates to the Asiatic refugees? How could I sell to people who couldn't buy? And the millions who died because you refused them employment? Am I responsible for those too shiftless to fend for themselves? Am I my brother's keeper? If 50 million Englishmen die because I cannot hasten the process of trial and error, the guilt is mine, and I admit it. I do not seek to exculpate myself by pointing a finger at you or by silly and pompous evasions of my responsibility. If the grass comes before I am ready, the fault is mine. In the meantime, while one creature remains alive, even if his initials be A.W., I shall seek to preserve him. As long as there is a foothold on land, I shall try on land, and when that fails, we shall board the Sisyphus and finish our work there, somewhere in the Atlantic." "You mean you definitely abandon hope of perfecting your compound before England goes?" "I abandon nothing," she replied. "I think it's quite possible I'll finish in time to save England, but I can't afford to do anything but look forward to the worst, and that is that we'll be driven to the sea." I was appalled by the pictures her words elicited. A few ships containing the survivors, a world covered with the grass. "And when success is attained, we shall fight our way back, inch by inch." But this piece of bombast didn't hearten me. I had no desire to fight our way back inch by inch. I wanted at least a fragment of civilization salvaged. September 19th. F has not been the only one to think of the high seas as a final refuge. The London office has been literally besieged by men of wealth eager to pay any price to charter one of our ships. I have given orders to grant no more charters for the present. September 20th. The enthusiasm is subsiding, and people are beginning to ask how long it will be before they can expect the reconquest of the continent to begin. BBC spoke cautiously about perfection of the compound for the first time, opening the way to the implication that it doesn't work as yet. Added quite a bit to my manuscript. September 21st. Mrs. H., in a very dignified mood, approached me, said she heard I had made plans to leave England in case the grass threatened. She asked nothing for herself, she said, being quite content to accept whatever fate Providence had in store for her, but would I take her daughter and family along on the Sisyphus? They would be quite useful, she added lamely. I said I would give the matter my attention, but assured her there was no immediate danger. September 22nd. Grass on the Isle of Man. September 23rd. Ordered stocking of the Sisyphus with as much concentrates as she can carry. The supply will be ample for a full crew, F staff, and myself, for at least 6 months. End of Chapter 6, Part C.